They didn't have women's weightlifting in Cuba until 2007 officially. And yet they had women's weightlifting in China probably in the late 70s, certainly the early 80s, United States, early 80s, Hungary, Britain, etc., Bulgaria. Women's weightlifting has been around for 40 years, but it didn't get into the Olympics until 2000. It's hard to say percentage-wise which has the bigger audience, which has the more media appeal and so on, but to me, women's weightlifting is every bit as good as men's weightlifting, and men's weightlifting is every bit as good as women's weightlifting. Because they're not two separate things.
Yes, I competed in the 2000 Olympics.
Going into 2024, it's potentially the last time
You know, it doesn't seem real. I'm tapped into reality. I get that that's a real threat. It's sad. Like, and I'm still hopeful because I love the sport so much, and it may be wishful thinking, but I'm gonna stay there until I see that it's not gonna be in the Olympics. And the fact that women just got in.
Yes.
Like, our run will have been so short relative to the men.
Given that boxing has done weightlifting a favour by taking a lot of the negative news focus, soaking it all up, then that's helped. But you shouldn't really rely on others to do your work, and the IWF has done its own work, and I think it will be okay for that way. I could be wrong.
I mean, it's definitely the most competitive quad that I've ever been in, because there's so many girls that are in the top 10, and then the numbers that everyone's doing are so much higher than they have been in the past. The fact that I know I have to put at least 10 kilos on my total to even have a shot is very intimidating. It's not something that's like out of the question or like out of reach by any means, but like having to improve that much this late into my career is something that like most of the time you don't really see. You don't see people have to make such large jumps 10 years into their lifting career. Like, it just doesn't happen. So it's a little scary, but it's also, I think it's making me better. Like, it's making me not able to just settle and just go try and do like the numbers that I'm comfortable with. Like, every time we open, we have to open higher, and every third attempt is going to be something I've probably never touched before. And that part is terrifying, but it's going to force me to do numbers that I normally probably wouldn't even consider.
Travel weighs very heavy on me. It's a subject I always have a lot of trouble with when we're leading up to a competition. I have a lot of anxiety about not necessarily like the actual flight or anything, but just travel in general I have anxiety about, especially when you're cutting and like you can't eat a whole lot and you have like a long travel day and like you don't have a lot of options. Like, that gives me a lot of anxiety. Not knowing what the situation is going to be like abroad, being away from home for a really long time. I'm a homebody. Like, I'm very extroverted and outgoing and I love traveling, but like if I'm away from my dogs and Sam for a long time, like it just weighs heavy on me. So I really try to stay wherever we're going for as little time as possible. Like, I want to be there enough to acclimate and feel good about like the time difference and sleeping and all that good stuff. But yeah, just sitting there for like 2 weeks, I can't do that. I cannot. It's not good for me. By the time the competition rolls around, I'm so ready to go home. That's all I'm thinking about. So I really try to balance between making sure I'm prepared and not hindering my performance by not getting there soon enough to acclimate, while also realizing that mentally it's really hard for me to be away from home so much. I mean, quite frankly, it's not super popular right now. But I mean, I've always dreamed of being a mom, just having a couple kids and living on some land. And I do want a simple life in terms of, I don't mind like the middle class white picket fence dream. Like, that's totally cool with me. And maybe that is a product of me going to the Olympics at the age of what, like 22? Like, I feel like I probably have done my big thing in my life, so now I'm ready just to hang out, kinda. I still have goals for myself, don't get me wrong, but mostly I just want a small little family and raise some family in Georgia, I guess. So yeah, I'm excited for that. That's what I mean when I say like I can't have all of this for a long time. Like eventually I'm gonna wanna have kids and retire from weightlifting. I feel like I'm kind of just in my like, you know, glory days right now and trying to enjoy it while I can, because I feel it coming to an end, like willingly, just like I'm feeling like this is probably my last run.
In my experience, I just have to beat someone, which is a little bit, you know, it has its own unique like pros and cons, right? It's like you never really know until you get to the end, really, for both ways. Like both of us, we need to know, did we do enough? And then was our enough like more than the other person? It's a stress that it probably is not helpful to think about all the time. Just focusing on that one competition that's ahead of you, and then you go into the next with the same thought process, rather than thinking, oh my gosh, in a year I have to be doing this.
Okay, fine. I give you treats.
He knows where it's at. That's what he was looking for.
He was looking for the treats.
Yeah, and then they both sit and look at me like this at random points of the day, like, where's my treat? How am I supposed to say no? It's kind of crazy, but there's not a scenario in my mind that I'm not at Paris, that I don't go. I think that's a way of me protecting myself, to be honest. That fear of like not going to the Olympics and not having that second chance and being able to rewrite this story in a way that I want it to end is terrifying. I think the US girls are super talented, and so I have to push even harder than I did last time, and last time I felt like I had to push really hard. Biggest fear is that the ending doesn't go the way that I hope it does. That I need it to be honest.
Physically, I feel pretty good. I've PR'd a lot of training lifts and ones that I didn't know if I ever would again. So I'm trying to lean on those to feel confident, but I am having a hard time. So I'm trying to lean on the people that I have in my life that remind me of the things that I'm doing.
Let me tell you a story that starts 2 Fridays ago. 2 Fridays ago, you snatch 123. 2 Mondays ago, you go, PR hang snatch 116. Then the next day you came in, you did a PR hang clean with 156 and jerk. And then you jerked 180 that day. And then also, the next day you snatched 110 for a double. Then on Friday of last week you did 158 for a clean and jerk single.
Wait, wasn't it only 57?
Oh wait, also, wait a second. Hold on, wait a second. I forgot something. Your PR triple squat. So you've PR'd your hang snatch, your hang clean, your squat. You've PR'd your training clean and jerk. You've PR'd your snatch and you've PR'd your squat. So, I can't think of any other exercises. I don't remember any other exercises.
The light bulb that I have going on, you know, you need to turn the light on, it's like kind of like...
And it's like, and then you're like, that one's broken.
Yeah. When I start to kind of fall apart, which I do. I fall apart really hard before meets sometimes mentally. So I wish we could avoid that part, but that with just like normal life stuff and hormones, like things like that, it's not been great the last couple of days, the last week or so, but I feel a little better today, and I'm trying to be better at that. I'm not good at it. I'm not succeeding very well on getting better at that, but I know if I do, I think I could be pretty dang good, but it's just hard. If it was like, if I could have a brain, like a really strong, tough brain, I feel like I probably would be like so good at weightlifting. But I'm like still good at weightlifting, but I feel like I could be better if I was a little bit more tough mentally, but we're trying, we're getting there.
But under the pressure of a competitive quad, time is of the essence. In less than 3 months after Argentina, it's time again to compete.
Cuba's got such a cool weightlifting history. The meet was put there because the 1973 World Championships were held in Cuba. So this was the 50-year anniversary of them hosting the Weightlifting World Championships of 1973. It's just a celebration of Cuban lifting. So they have such a history that, you know, goes back to, you know, their relationship with the Soviet Union and trade it, like having coaches work together. So as a weightlifting historian or fan of weightlifting history, is a really neat place to be.
And though this competition was not without consequence.
What it's all about right here.
What is that?
This is our Bible here. This is the Olympic qualification ranking list. It's what we live and die by, especially at these Grand Prix. We're watching the numbers here, plus any competitors that aren't on the list. It's more important here when an athlete has the ability to move up the rankings versus a medal. This is what we're going for. This is what we talk to the coaches about. We're trying to get folks to the Olympics.
We could have looked like absolute fools. Like, we could have looked completely foolish. We knew we were making the right choice. We knew it. Like, I knew it on paper. I knew it physiologically. I knew with her brain and like her body, like it was the only choice. But you still like, it's still a risk, you know? It's a calculated one. It's one that was right. It's one of the few times we'll get to make that choice. And right now we look like we made the right one. And both of us knew that. And so like, that's why the sport is so freaking cool. Is like, you can never be settled. You can never, it's never over. It's never final until at like the very end. Like the sport just, it makes you make choices and live by them. And then just hope in the end. Like everything from exercise selection to do we cut weight. It's like, you gotta live by them and then hope you made the right one. And sometimes you do and sometimes you don't.
Okay, so we're doing something a little different. I am not cutting, so I'm competing in the 55A session. We're like in the middle of a really long cycle leading up to Worlds. So definitely not in comp prep shape, but I feel really strong. So we want to open up a little bit higher than I've done in the past, kind of get that confidence for Worlds, and then potentially just scratch my second and third attempts. Never done that before. But yeah, I think it'll be fun and also a good confidence boost for my prep for Worlds. Very weird to know that like Hayley's lifting tonight and she's probably gonna full send it and there's nothing I can do about it. I've chosen to essentially like let this opportunity go by.
That's a good lift at 107. Hayley's best is 111. Here we see her second attempt, 110. That's going to be a no lift at 110. And then her third attempt, 111, and a no lift for her on that. A frustrating day for Hayley Reichardt as she trails a kilo behind Jourdan Delacruz in the OQ.
I feel like I'm in shape to do really heavy openers, but I don't want to push it. I don't want to, this kind of sounds bad, but like accidentally do a really good total and then be in the wrong weight class. Looking at it from a larger perspective, you know, we have so many more competitions coming up where we have to full send it, right? Like Worlds is a big one. The Grand Prix and Pan Ams in 24 will obviously be really big ones. So we want to be in really good shape for that and not push too much at the beginning, and then we're just running on low steam towards the end. Monday, I did my first snatch off the floor without straps, and it was very weird.
And that was crazy because she wasn't supposed to. And we both realized it Monday. We were like, oh shoot. Like, she hadn't done a lift without straps since before Pan Ams. And so I was like, I looked at the program, and it was a complex. It was like a pool plus a floating. And I was like, hey, so you're gonna work up, do these doubles up to 77? I was like, and then I need you to put the bar on the floor, take the straps away, go back to 75, and like build up to 85. And so like, she's done all these doubles, all this work, back to the floor, hasn't snatched from the floor at all. We're starting at 75, and then up to 85.
I think because there's less pressure in general being in the 55 class, it doesn't make me as nervous.
Jourdan Delacruz at the Grand Prix here in Cuba. Jourdan Delacruz opening up at 85 kilos. And that's going to be a good lift for Delacruz at 85. She's going to waive her second and third attempts. Here we see Jourdan opening up at 110. This will bring home the gold medal in the total. And that's a good lift. Nice 195 total for Jourdan Delacruz.
And Jourdan won't be the only one competing outside of her weight class.
It really does kind of suck that I have to sit and watch Olivia and Meredith compete, and I have nothing to answer to that. I just have to watch it happen. No matter if I was competing or not, Olivia and Meredith are going to do what they're going to do. And I was always planning on Worlds being my big event anyway. So trying to keep all the stress levels low, because really there's not a lot of reason to stress right now. I'm mid-cycle, focused on Worlds.
It feels like those three are just playing. You ever seen that, like at baseball games, you're watching the game and the ball under the cup, and then you have to track the cup and figure out which one. It's like, feels like those three are just like all the time, right? And so as it sits right now, Kate is at the top, Olivia's in the middle, and Meredith's at the bottom. Like, I expect that to change every competition. That order will shift in some way, because you're talking about three of the best competitors in the world, like all competing for one spot, hopefully one spot, like one shot, really. As it sits right now, because of, and that's what's so crazy, is like Kate didn't choose 76. Like, she's competing as a 76, not by choice. She's the #1 ranked 71 in the country, but she didn't get the option to compete as 71 here because of how much shifting there is. Like, Meredith beat her at the Arnold, and so she doesn't get to go to this competition as 71, but she does get to go to Worlds as 71, and Meredith doesn't.
Tomorrow's really about what I can do, the total that I need or I want, and less about who I'm competing against. I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of strategy or anything to that effect. It's simply, I need this number, I need this weight on the bar, and I will warm up to that, and that's what I want to happen. It's less like, there's no medals, team points, scoring in any way. It's the numbers that I need to hit is really all it is. So whether that's against Kate or Meredith, I don't think it matters. And I don't think it matters to them either.
Olivia Reeves opening up at 104 for her snatches. Olivia sitting behind Kate Vibert in the OQR in the 71 kilo class, trying to make up a little ground today. Sits in with it, comes up. That's a good opening attempt for Olivia Reeves at 104. That will bring out Meredith Alwine for her opening attempt at 105. Meredith also competing as a 71, trying to earn that spot and catch Kate and Olivia. Chase that, and that's a no lift for Meredith Alwine at 105. See her Meredith coming out for her second attempt at 107, taking a 2 kilo jump after that missed opening attempt. And that's a no lift for Alwine at 107. Meredith Alwine coming back for her third attempt, repeating the lift at 107. Oh, and that's a no lift for Meredith Alwine. She fails to post a total today by missing all three of her snatches, a very rare occurrence for Meredith Alwine. That's going to bring back Olivia Reeves at 108. Nice lift for Olivia Reeves at 108 kilos. Again, trying to catch Kate Vibert, and that's going to be a no lift on her third attempt at 110. Olivia Reeves opening up 133 kilos. Very nice jerk. Olivia Reeves posts a total with that 133 kilo opening attempt. Second attempt for Reeves, that's going to be a no lift, and her third lift here at 141 to try and catch Kate, and that's not going to happen today. No lift at 141 kilos.
Kate and I are very similar in the way that we approach training and the way that we approach life and what motivates us and what doesn't. If I tell Jourdan, hey, you're not going to make that jerk, she'll believe me. If I tell Kate, she'll give me the middle finger and prove me wrong.
Spencer and I had a little bit of a talk, like, I don't know, a month or so ago. I was getting really burnt out, feeling like I just wasn't in a great mood. Like, I wasn't in a great place with weightlifting in general. I was starting to feel burnt out. I was starting to have not as much fun in the gym. I was trying to like figure out a way to like get back into that mode of like, I love this sport. I want to be here. What can we do to make that happen? I said, this is what I value in the gym. This is what I feel I get the most out of. Like, you're the boss. Like, I am not trying to coach myself. That is never my intention. But at the same time, I've been in the sport for 8 years now, and I can kind of see trends and what works for me. And, you know, my mind, my mental state when I go into the gym, that matters too. So if I'm not having fun, I know it's gonna go downhill. So in my mind, I'm like, I need to tell Spencer that this is not fun and we need to figure things out. And I told him, I want to have more reps at higher percentages, because first of all, I enjoy that. And second of all, I need to build confidence there and work on my technique there. I know I can perform a perfect 65 kilo snatch. But when I'm in all this volume, I wanna know I can still hit 100 kilos and make it pretty. So when all the volume turns down, you know, 105 to 110 is going to be pretty, you know, and I won't feel so like a fish out of water at competition.
Here we see Kate Vibert opening up at 107 kilos. A nice opener for Kate. Kate lifting as a 76 kilo athlete today, so not working on improving her total in the 71s. Here we go, second attempt, Kate Vibert, 110 on the bar. And that's going to be a good lift at 110. Kate's going to go up to 113. This would be an American record in the 76 kilo class. Kate opening up here at 136. Not come up with a 136 on her first attempt. Reset that bar. Second attempt, Kate Vibert at 136 kilos. Loses it out front. No lift, Kate Vibert, 136. Kate's going to bump up to 137 for her third attempt. See if she can make this. Kate always performs well under pressure. And that's a good lift for Kate at 137 to post a 247 total and place herself in the OQR rankings as an 81 kilo athlete.
I don't like lifting for no reason. You know, like we had a reason today, it was to test out new openers. But that wasn't a good enough reason for me. And I think subconsciously that was my way of being like, screw this. And I think that is a character flaw of mine, but it's okay. I think that was a learning experience. And it was very me when it comes down to it. I wasn't really that nervous throughout all of it. I was just like, okay. And then when I realized I needed that last lift to win, to total, to do everything, I did what I needed to do. And that's kind of me in a nutshell. I have to be back into some kind of corner. And until I was, obviously, it didn't really happen. And then 37 felt easy, of course, because that's how I am. I'm frustrated, don't get me wrong. I would have loved to make 36 and then potentially do something that would make me the top 81 in the OQR in the US right now. And I really wanted to make that 113 snatch because that would have been an American record, and I haven't had one of those in a while. But all in all, I'm pretty happy. Like, I'm training through this when it comes down to it. And I did 2 kilos under my best, which really isn't a bad day.
I said that Jourdan was like a perfectly calculated cup of coffee. Everything was perfect, and she was just, you know. And Kate's like chugging or shotgunning a bang. There you got it. There's your shotgun and a bang. Chaos, always chaos.
But as Mattie knows all too well, chaos isn't always preferred.
Ready, Will?
Wow. 3 whites.
At least my thumbnails match my shoes. Except I should have thought that through because my thumbnails are the ones that get covered.
Are the rest of them just black?
They're various, and in various stages of falling off.
Not that one over there. I don't have the same over here. That one I put it on the left. That's why I put it out.
You make me
In weightlifting, everything can feel smooth, fast. Everything can feel perfect. And seemingly out of nowhere, things can start to deteriorate. When the composure of the lift begins to crumble, it's unbelievably hard to hold all the pieces together.
Mattie Rogers' opening attempt at 110 kilos. Just loses that behind. So we reset the bar. Second attempt, Mattie Rogers at 110. And she holds on to that one. That's a good lift for Mattie Rogers on her second attempt at 110. Mattie's going to scratch her third attempt. So we'll see her come back out for a clean and jerks.
I haven't done 10 from the floor since on stage at Shannon's.
What have I told you for 2 weeks? For 2 weeks, I have said you don't have to do it in order to do it.
But never in my career have I done that.
Okay, but you know what? In your career, things were different than they are with me. Can you just say I was right?
No.
I was right. Literally.
Good concept.
Come on, strong legs. Yes. There you go. That was a much better pull. Take this off and put it in the wrist. That's it. Get balanced. Is this loaded now? Yes, it's just me.
Here we see Mattie Rogers coming out for her opening attempt at 138 kilos. Trying to improve her total in the OQR, try and make a little progress up the rankings. And no question about that, Jordan. Good lift for Mattie Rogers on her opening attempt at 138.
Clean and jerk, the opener was great, so we got a little greedy. We're like, well, let's try to get whatever total, and I just.
Here we see Mattie coming out for her second attempt at 142. And that's going to be a no lift for Rogers at 142. Third attempt here, 143. Yeah, no lift for Mattie Rogers at 143. She'll be credited with a 248 total today, but does not improve her rankings in the OQR.
We decided that we wanted to take the approach that the first order of business was to try and win the meet. Let's go out there and make a big total and be a part of this competition.
It was good. I was glad how I did. My snatches felt pretty good.
So Mary opened more aggressively in the snatch. She opened at 115, which has been her average opener over the last couple years. She went 115, 119 in the snatch. 119 was a competition PR. To me, 119 unlocked the door to some bigger numbers in the total later in the competition. So we took 119, and she did, those were easy, really great looking attempts, so we went for a PR at 122.
I had been working through like a hand thing before the meet, so my training was pretty bad. Basically every Friday I'd go up to 150 and cut it. And so my hand was just like, anytime it would go back, it was just really, really painful, so I couldn't really hold my rack and I couldn't really jerk that well. So I was just like basically getting through that meet to take a break. I needed like a week off to just let it rest. So that was kind of, I was like, let me go all in Cuba, give it like a week off and it should be fine. During my warm-ups, I was like thinking, okay, your last clean and jerk, you just took 140. You gotta take 148 in the back, and then you got 3 clean and jerks on the platform, and you can take a week off. Take my 148, and I'm like, okay, you got 3 clean and jerks and you can take a week off. And I'm like, that's kind of messed up that I was thinking like that, but it really, really, really hurt.
Sarah Robles had a great snatch session. She took an attempt at 129, which is the American record, and was super close to that. So she was like on and had a big lead after the snatch. And so moving into the clean and jerk, we knew we had to try and make up that deficit and see if we could pass Sarah. And so we took a pretty aggressive approach. The plan then was to open at 155 to be the last opener at the meet. Based on how Sarah clean and jerk, Mary could take 158 and win the competition. So her first attempt was 155. We took a small jump to 158 to win the competition and get the gold medal overall. And then Mary took a jump to 164, which would have put her above Sarah in the OQR. As her coach, she made the lift, but she got called on a press out. She got 3 reds from the judges. To me, I still, if I watched that a million times, I thought that, she drove the bar forward and then kind of worked her head through. And when you do that with your shoulders, it makes it look like your arm gets a little soft. And so it wasn't a good jerk by any means, like for Mary, like.
I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
And without reprieve, these athletes need to go from one competition to the next.
This prep, I wouldn't say it's going perfectly, but it's also not going poorly. My squats are the strongest they've ever been, so I feel really, really strong. There has been some technical issues with my snatch.
Feet. It's good patience right there.
Nice.
That one, that didn't come to you. You had to go to it. So it was out front, you saddled into it.
But we're working through them and we still have time to get it all put together. So, it's been a lot of work. It's been a pretty long cycle. I'm really excited to get into the true competition prep and work up on the intensity of the snatch and clean and jerk so that, I can actually feel the lift and feel a little bit more prepared than I am right now. Mentally, I'm just ready for it to be here because I feel like it has been such a long time coming. So I'm ready to just go, do my thing, and hopefully it'll work out how we've always planned because I put a lot of hard work in.
After Tokyo, I think my mindset was so fixated on medals and winning, PRing, all of this stuff, and I see the bigger picture now. It's not just Worlds that I'm training for. The finish line is not just Worlds. The finish line is a year from now, which means it's in 4 meets from now and 3 weight cuts from now, which is exhausting. And I feel like that's something that I've had to kind of figure out and how to use different tools and strategies to help that not weigh on me so much.
This is super hard. I knew it would be hard. I'm not dumb. I understand how going to the Olympics is not an easy thing to do. But I thought that break between Cuba and Worlds would feel longer because on a calendar it was longer than from Pan Am's to Cuba. It did not feel longer. And I've trained really well, like so much better than before Cuba. But for some reason, I'm just like, we leave next week, I'm not ready, you know? All of a sudden I'm telling myself I'm not ready, and I'm sure I'm ready, you know? Like, I can't do much more. Like, I've PR'd a bunch of my training lifts. Some of my training lifts I haven't PR'd in over 2 years. So like, to do that now, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And I usually compete well. Like, I just need to worry about those things and not worry about how I feel like scared a little bit.
Leading up to Cuba, my training was god awful. I was all over the place. I was not focused. I was just having like bad day after bad day. And pretty much every day we went into training, I was like, well, I'm just trying and make the bare minimum and hope for the best. And I think we were gonna use Cuba as like a reset button, regardless of if I competed, if I withdrew, whatever. And I came home and really tried to get my shit together. Not that I like wasn't actively trying before, I was just doing a poor job of it. I think that like little switch of like thinking of it as a reset helped, and my training has been really good. And I never say that. You've known me for so long, and I never say my training is going really good, but it has been. I feel the strongest I've ever felt. I am hurting a lot less physically, like my joints feel good, no injuries, knock on wood. So it's going suspiciously good.
Why do you say suspiciously?
Because I'm always suspicious. If it's going great, I'm suspicious. If I'm not dying, like, it's weird. It's not a normal time.
In this quad though, what is normal is speed, and how every improvement needs to be made under the immense pressure of evaporating time. And the relentless clock continues to tick towards